Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another watch me work video and I'm pretty excited about this set. It's this pretty simple flame set and one hand is different. Y'all have seen this client's hands multiple times. She always gets two different hands. One hand features a iridescent kind of duochrome flame decal encapsulated, and the other hand a cute iridescent pink color. So this is her previous set when it was freshly done, because we had to see where we came from. If you haven't watched that video, scroll back a few videos and watch it. And this is that same set after 4 weeks. So they held up very nice, actually. She did want me to let y'all know she self-tanned, so excuse the staining. It's from her tanner. So she actually slammed her finger in the door and cracked this nail. And she glued it back together, and it was so very sturdy. I filed this nail paper thin and it held. So I made the executive decision to just leave it. I mean, I literally tried to break it off where she cracked it. It didn't wobble, wiggle, or nothing. And I'm just going to file it down, like I said, really thin, and then put product back over it. And I feel confident that it'll hold on. It's closer towards the tip of her nail, so if she has any issues with it, which I'm not thinking she will, it won't like be anything painful. But I didn't see the point in taking it off just to add something right back where it's cracked at. So I am removing this product on the hand that's going to have the flames very low, so I can put a it's going to be the same color actually, but I wanted, of course, we need to file it low so we can encapsulate the product. So we need it very thin so we didn't have very bulky nails. But it wasn't consistent. If you remember, if you've been watching for a while, this is the client who had one hand clear polygel, and this is the clear polygel hand. And so the color underneath wasn't very consistent because the tips of the nails were more sheer and she had other stuff underneath. Yeah, so we're filing down really thin, and I'm using the Red Baron bit from Atwood Industries, and this bit is aggressive. Now, this is sped up, of course, but this bit, if you're trying to take something down, is so aggressive and mean. And Builder Gel files down easier anyways, but this takes acrylic down like butter, so I definitely recommend. I had this bit in a different shape. It got a little aged, and Atwood Industries sent me a new one in that flame type shape. So I'm back on. So with her other hand, I'm using Poochie's Nails Extra Coarse bit, and I'm just removing the polish and design we had before. I wanted to use this bit opposed to the Red Baron bit because the other one's too aggressive. It would take off the actual builder gel. I'm just trying to take off the polish only. So this bit allows me to do that without digging into the actual enhancement, because like I said, builder gel is really, really easy to file. It doesn't really take much to file it lower or debulk it. So you want to kind of be more gentle if you're not trying to take down the enhancement. Now I do go over and kind of debulk the tips of these or towards the free edge. I just don't want to have them too heavy as they grow out. And this finger, I always get people make comments. These are all her natural nails, with the exception, well, they're all pretty much basically her natural nail. There's like one finger, I think it was that pointer finger she cracked, has a little extension on it. So natural nails, when they grow out, they twist and spin and bend, and she's fine with it. That's how her nail naturally grows out. We shape it, the best we can, but she appreciates having her natural nails. And I understand that we can, fix it and augment it and make it look better, but she's fine with it. So she's paying me and not y'all. So I'm taking the crosscut bit and I'm just kind of smoothing out everything I filed, because that Red Baron bit can leave some like valleys and some inconsistencies. Of course, you don't want to file into the natural nail or too close, because we don't want to dig in and damage the actual natural nail. But I also want a consistent and more smooth surface, so when we apply the product over it, it doesn't look weird, because it is going to be seen. It's not going to be polished over. Again, this is the hand we're going to be putting those flames on and encapsulating them. So next I'm going in with the skiver bit, and this bit removes the dead skin off of the nail plate, or what is called the cuticle. And this bit doesn't have flutes or teeth, which means it's not cutting into the nail. It is a diamond bit, which means it has texture similar to a sanding band or sanding paper. So if you have a bit that has like actual flutes or twists or teeth in it, those can actually cut into the nail plate. So I wouldn't use bits like that on the actual natural nail, only on the enhancement. So you want something that's more gentle, and this is sped up, so it always looks more aggressive, but you want to be more gentle on the nail plate. You don't want to do anything that can't be buffed back out, and that's always the rule for me. With this bit, you always want to keep it as parallel as possible to the nail plate. I say it all the time, but you know, to any new people, we're keeping that as flush as possible to the nail plate as to not dig in. Next, we're going in with our round bit, and we don't really want to use this bit on the actual nail plate. You can touch it lightly, you know, if you need to, if there's a certain corner where you just need to get that dead skin off. Touching it, you know, a little bit is fine, but you don't want to use this to remove the dead cuticle on the nail plate because it is rounded. It can cause rings and indentations. This is for to flake off that dead skin that we have, or to buff out any calluses we have towards the side walls of the nails, or some people get them on the, you know, corners where they write or hold pens, you know, that little writing little bump callus. So this is a great tool to get any of that off, any dry dead skin, flaking skin, and the stuff we kick up when we're using that skiver bit. So I use this bit going forward and back. I change the direction, and I go both ways depending on how bad the client's skin is, or, you know, if it's being stubborn and not wanting to come off one direction, I flip it the other direction to go ahead and get it to flake off. So you can see that little piece was being stubborn. I flipped it the other way, and now I'm going from right to left and getting that skin to come off much, much easier. And I'm just going to touch up all the other nails, get that dead skin off, and that just helps us have a better look, and the client will appreciate it. Or if you're doing it on yourself, you will appreciate yourself. Like I said, it's just a better look overall. So that's the last of our prep. We'll go ahead and spray the hands off with alcohol and dust them, and which leads us to this point. I'm going to add our gel base. These are Builder Gel nails. I use a gel base. What I use most of the time, what you see me use, is the Gel Bottle Inks rubber base coat. That's not what I'm using today. I'm trying out a different product, but if you want something that works, and I know that works, that's tried and true, it's the Gel Bottle Inks rubber base. This is a similar product, but not the same. And I'm just testing it out. So we apply that really thin. When I'm doing a fill, like on this hand, I try to mostly keep it to the fill area. It's not going to hurt if you apply it to the entirety of the nail, but these nails are so long, there's no point. You're going to file it right back off. It's a waste of product, and gel products in general are much more pricier than acrylic products. So I'm just going in and, you know, getting that applied. We'll go ahead and cure that in the light. And then after that, we're going to go in with our actual builder gel and do that little quick fill. And because our other hand, we filed most of the product off, I'll pretty much apply that rubber base coat, or that gel base coat, over the entirety of the nail, just because, like I said, we filed it so thin. And after we go in with that cross-cut bit, there are some areas that are going to be filed basically to the natural nail, if not really close. So we want to make sure we have good adhesion throughout the entire enhancement. So this is the prepping or priming step of gel. This is all that it takes. You just cleanse off the nails, apply your base gel, and then you go into your enhancement. I get questions, people like, well, where's the primer? Where's the dehydrator? I wipe it with acetone or alcohol, then go in with the Gel Bottle Inks rubber base coat, and we're ready to go. So today, as far as the fill or the enhancements in general, I'm using the Cosmetic Pink Builder from Light Elegance. I'm going to be doing the backfill on the hand. We're just going to be polishing over. Then on the other hand, we'll get to that, it's going to be applied more sheer so that we can encapsulate our flames over it. So now we're going in with our builder gel, and I'm applying a slip layer. Now, as far as brushes, I'm using one. It's just from like Michael's and from literally their paintbrush section. I don't know what it's called, and I actually went to try and find another one, and I could not find it at all locally to me. I even tried to Google it and see if I could find it, and I could not. I even went to the brand's page, so I'm assuming that they don't make this brush no more, and I apologize. But what you're looking for in a gel brush is something that's real kind of more dense. The bristles are packed really close together, because if not, the bristles will spread when you go to apply the product and you'll get inconsistencies. So you want the bristles really, really close together. Alpha brush makes some really good gel brushes, and they're also real affordable. I prefer a size 6. If you're looking to shop with them, they do have a size 4. It's really small, and I think it's kind of, depending on what you're doing, if you have somebody with small nail beds, it's fine. But just like the average size nail bed, I think a number 6 is great. Last I checked, they were sold out, but I'll put it below. I'm not sure at this time of this video when I'm doing the voiceover. It may be back in stock. So on her hand that we're going to be doing the flames, I am just going to be rebrushing a very thin layer of the product so it can stay sheer. I don't really want to build it up much, especially and specifically around the cuticle area, because we need space to put the decal as close to the cuticle as we can for it to look right. We want to look like the flames are, for some reason, shooting out of her cuticle. And so we want to keep that real thin, but we also want some coverage. So what's going to end up happening, or what I'm going to be doing, is applying the product real thin, like polish around the cuticle area. But as we get into the free edge portion of the nail with my second layer, I'm going to build it up just a little bit so we have that coverage, or it has a consistent look, but it still is kind of sheer. So like I said, we're using the same color on this hand as we did on the other hand, but the color is going to come off differently slightly because it's more sheer on this hand. So with gels, you can kind of play around like that and layer stuff. You can use like a thin layer of an opaque gel, which this is an opaque gel when built up, and then go over it with like a sheer pink, or, you know, like you can just play with the tones like that just to get it how you want. So I went ahead and cured the thin layer. So now I'm going in with the second layer, and this, like I said, I'm going to be focused more on the free edge area, and I'm just going to be building that up just very slightly, not even building it up in sense of like strength, but just building it up color wise. Especially on this nail, this is the one that I had added a little extension on. I think it's the last video that I did the yellow on, I think. Anyways, so it had a little bit of a different look. As you can see, it had the pink, the sheer pink from the extension. So I add a little more on there to make sure I have some good coverage. But overall, it's still kind of a sheer color. Now, you can see I'm not going all the way back up to that cuticle area. We don't want to bulk it up, because we have to make sure we have space for the product, and then we have to make sure that product is fully encapsulated so we don't file it off. This is a rule of thumb if you're going to do this with acrylic, or if you're using glitter, if you're using lace, if you're doing any encapsulation, make sure that you're working thin around the cuticle area. You're only putting what you need to at the cuticle area, nothing more. That's it. So once I do this layer towards the free edge, I get that the right consistency or the right look, then I go ahead and cure it again, and then we're ready to do our flames. Now this is from the Painted Koi. on Instagram. So if you're interested in purchasing, please look her up on Instagram. I think she's getting together a website, but go ahead and check her out. She has a few different colors of these flames. This might be pink, this might be orange. I'm not sure what she calls it, and I apologize. But there is different colors. She'll have pictures. Pick whichever tickles your fancy. So I tried to stick this right on the nail after I took it out the light, and there's a tacky layer, and it did not stick, as you could see. It just popped right back off. So I had to wipe it off with alcohol. I went ahead and wiped them all off with alcohol, or maybe acetone. You can wipe off a inhibition layer, a dispersion layer, a sticky layer with both. It works just fine. So after I wiped that off, I wiped off the back of the decal just to get that tacky layer off the back of that. And now you can see it actually stuck to the nail and, you know, curved with the nail, because that's what we need. We don't want anything sticking up. So I'm just going through. There's so many flame shapes on the sheet. I mean, there's so many unique ones, and they're flipped. Some of them are the same, but they're mirrored. There's little flares. Like you can see, I stuck towards the free edge portion. And yeah, so took me a while to actually pick out which flames do I want where, how do I want to put them, but they're really cool. And I wish me and my client both wish we could have done this with clear nails, but she was not sacrificing her natural nail. And so you can see in some areas I'm clipping, like around the cuticle areas or the edge, because that's because it was hanging off and I wanted to use a specific, design, but it was too big. Anyways, so that's an option. You can always cut them to kind of be more custom. I didn't like that middle nail I just couldn't get it right. I tried it for a while. I tried doing different things. I didn't even show everything I tried. And I was like, forget it. Took it off and redid it. And I like this much, much better. You can see I'm cutting it again. And when you cut it, you don't want it to be absolutely even with the edge. You want it a little short of the edge, because you have to have space to encapsulate it and also some space to file. So I got them exactly how I wanted them, and I didn't even have a clip, but I'm using Light Elegance's Cool Gel. I'm sorry I don't have a clip for you guys. I've used it before in videos. It's Light Elegance Cool Gel, and I'll try to leave a link below. And I'm just encapsulating with that gel. It is a clear builder gel. If you have a Light Elegance Extreme Gel, works just fine. I've tried IBD builder gels, work just fine. Whichever, if you're used to gel, whichever clear works for you. I don't like something too runny, because especially for this, because I'm trying to build it up so much and make sure the design is fully encapsulated. I like something that has a little more, a little more thickness to it, that doesn't run so much. So as you can see, I'm doing a slip layer, which means I'm polishing a thin layer on. And this layer is basically telling the, when I pick up a big bead, where it should go, because it's going to disperse out like a drop of water in a lake. It's just going to disperse out and it's going to level. So if you have a problem with gel or even air bubbles, I find that can cause air bubbles if you don't do a slip layer first sometimes. So you can see I'm just applying that bigger bead and just moving it very, very slightly with the tip of my brush. Just very lightly. This is sped up, but builder gel is it's just so easy. If you have a hard time with acrylic and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do as a nail tech, don't give up. Just give up on acrylic and switch to builder gel or poly gel. I'm just such a believer in that product. It's just so easy. It's so much easier to file, and the fact that it self-levels, you don't have all these inconsistencies and lumps and bumps. You have some areas you need to kind of take care of, but even then, since it files so easy, it's not much. It's like, voop, voop, voop. Oh, they're perfect. So I really like builder gel. Now, every enhancement type has its limitations. There's pros and cons to polygel, builder gel, acrylic, silk wraps, dipping powder. Everything has its, limitations. So I think it's great to be versed in, different things, or at least a few things to offer different options. So I filed and shaped. Well, I shaped off camera, and now I'm going in and finish filing. I'm using the crosscut bit, and I only use this bit when I'm finished filing builder gel because, again, it's so easy to file. If I use the traditional bits, the ones that have the teeth or the flutes in them that actually cuts the product, we're going to file too much off so fast. This crosscut bit, it has cuts in it. It has diamond cuts, but it doesn't have actual teeth. It is a diamond bit, which means it's like sandpaper or like a sanding band. You can also, if you feel comfortable with sanding bands, use exclusively sanding bands on gel. But I really wouldn't finish file with anything but a bit that has a sanding paper texture because it will file down so quick. So I filed and shaped the nails, and we're trying to decide if we want them shiny or matte. So what do you think? What would you have done? Matte on the left, shiny on the right. You can see, what would you have done? We were deciding. It took us so long to decide. And the color actually looks different. It looks more light pink matte and more orange shiny. We decided to go matte. So I'm using the No White Velvet Matte from Daily Charm. And I'm just going to polish that on. Pretty simple. Now, I get questions also about the Lac. Oh, I thought you liked the Lac one or the Presto. I love the Lac matte top coat. It is one of the best matte top coats. It is a very, very matte top coat. And it's good for a lot of, specific looks. I felt it was going to be too matte for this look. Like it was going to give it a more frosted look than it needs to, or than I wanted. So this product is really matte as well, but it just is not that next level. Lac is going to give you chalkboard, super matte. If you haven't watched the battle of my gel matte video, go ahead and watch that. And I say all these things in a good way. They're both very good. When I say chalkboard, it doesn't make it dusty or white. It's just like very dry, very matte. So anyways, we applied that matte top coat, and then we were trying to figure out the color. This is the original color we were going to do when we thought we were going to leave it shiny. And I was like, that's not matching, because we wanted to do like a matchy kind of look. And then I pulled out this gel bottle ink color, and it's flamingo. And we were like, oh yeah, this matches. So I am going in and polishing this color. Now, the problem with this color is that, as you can see, it's a light pink and it with a blue iridescence. It's beautiful. I definitely 10 out of 10 recommend you purchase it. It's just so pretty. But with our on our path of trying to be like matchy with the flames, I noticed that this has a blue iridescence and the flames have more of a green iridescence, or flip or switch, whatever you want to call it. They also have a little bit of blue, but it has like a green, I would say more teal. It has like a teal or aqua switch to it. So what I decided to do was go ahead and add that color or that look to it. So I went through my little drawers and I found that I had the Wildflowers. I think it's the Sugar Stack. And there's a pigment in that. I think it's the 4th or 5th one down or something like that. That is more aqua or more green in appearance. Now, I was kind of trying to decide what I wanted to do. And I'll show you. You see on the left is the pigment. See, it's more like, not like turquoisey, and then on the right is the color. It's more blue. Even looking past my glove, it's more blue. And I originally was gonna mix the polish, and I was like, no. So on the left is with the pigment, and on the right is without. I decided to apply it like burnished on the nail, kind of like you would do a chrome. Now this is just over after I put the nail in the light. I did one coat, put it in the light, took it out. There's that tacky layer, a bit of a tacky layer, and I'm just pushing this into the nail and smoothing it out. It's not looking like a chrome, it's looking like a frosted situation, which is absolutely fine, because what I went in and did is I polished over it with that pink flamingo polish. And because it's sheer, you can see that pigment through it. And hopefully y'all can tell on camera how it's showing up. So because we're seeing that pigment through it, it's giving it that little bit of that turquoisey green, but also with that blue. And y'all can see how particular I am, obviously. I went through all this trouble just to get that little hint of color in there. But those type of things, they matter. You know, it's that one little oomph. And especially, it was kind of hard to capture on camera, I'll be honest. Even with the final photos, it was hard to capture. But in real life, it just set it off. So I'm going in with my top coat. I'm using the Joya Mia top coat. It's a really great top coat, but use whichever is your favorite. If yours is working for you and lasting great, stay with that. I use this one. I use anything that's convenient to me that I know works. So there's many gel top coats that I like, and this is one of them. So we just top coat that, cure it in the light, and we're done. And I thought about matting out this hand too, but I was like, nah, let me not. So that's it. I'll apply my oil and my moisturizing spray. And I just want to show you guys, I showed you in the last video, but when you're doing this step, it'll take away the matte. It doesn't take it away, it takes the appearance away. The matte is still there. What you do is take some acetone and lint-free wipe and go ahead and wipe the nail off. I always wipe my clients' nails off when I'm done, no matter if they're shiny or matte, because the oil will make the nails look less shiny or less matte. It just is not, it doesn't help either. So I always wipe their nails off. So even if I'm not taking pictures, just so they can have a, you know, nice look and see how the nails are supposed to look. Their bling could be blingy, matte, matte, shiny, shiny. So this is our final look. I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely check out the painted koi. Don't forget to thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them below. Also, if you have any questions, look in the description bar first. They might be answered. I really, really want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do so. All right, you guys, have a good day, and bye.